My name is Reginald Knight, and the producer I chose for my podcast is George Martin. George Martin was born on January 3rd, 1926, and he is labeled as one of the world's greatest producers of mankind. He is responsible for most of the Beatles tracks, except for one or two here and there, which is how George Martin left his mark on the world. George was born in London. At the age of 6, he received his first piano from his parents and immediately started getting lessons from piano teachers as well. And he loved it, he loved every moment of it. And that was the start of his love for music. But although he loved music so much, at the age of 17, he had to join up with the Navy and had to put an end for that as well. By the time he finished the Navy, George Martin decided to go to school for music and continue on his music career as well. So his passion and love for music is one of the great reasons why I idolize him so much. No matter what, he sticks to his music and he abides by that. George Martin began his musical career after he finished school and he set out to pursue it. He worked in the classical department for the BBC, which is the British Broadcasting Corporation. Big thing over there in London. He recorded all types of bands, like funk bands, jazz bands, you name it, he's done it. And many people believe that the Beatles, and although we know him for only having the Beatles, George Martin is known for so many other things. Like he performed Peter Sellers, Spike Milligan, and all type of different artists. Like he continued to work and pursue his career, no matter how hard or how difficult the task was. In the beginning, when George first heard about the Beatles, they were being managed by a man named Brian Epstein. They went from record label to record label to record label, and they were shut down by every last one of them. Finally, George and Brian met up, and George listened to some of their tracks as well. And he thought it was unpromising. That's exactly how he described it. He was only impressed by two things: McCartney's and Lennon's vocals on the tracks as well. He was very impressed with those. What really got George to sign off on this band was not their musical arrangement whatsoever. It wasn't any of that. It was because they brought fun and enjoyment to the sessions. They were always joking. So when George had a session with them, the first session, he knew that they could be something big and he would be able to work with them because it was so much fun just to be around them. As the Beatles started to fill out all that paperwork and the contracts were signed between George and the Beatles, they began recording 3 hit songs. One was How Do You Do It, Please Please Me, and Love Me Do Me. Love Me Do made it to the top 17 on the Billboard charts. After they seen that success, they directly just headed right back in the studio and started recording the next song, which was Please Please Me. After Please Please Me was recorded, George watched the band and told them, "Gentlemen, you have created your first #1 hit." And it was. Please Please Me made it to the #1 spot on the top Billboard charts. George Martin is an idol. He is an inspiration. He is the drive. He is the perfect example of anyone that wants to make it in this industry. Because he had that belief in him that it's going to work. Once again, my name is Reginald Knight, and this is my producer podcast for advanced recording sessions. You can look me up on Facebook, Reginald Music Driven Knight, and I'm willing to work if you are willing to work too. See ya.